And so again, I make an adjustment to this woman's spine, pick her up, carry her, lay her down and rest. Remember, I got a private resting room. BJ rested people 3 hours, by the way. So I rest people about an hour and a half. So they're laying down, she's resting. I'm seeing other patients. She walks across my office. She goes down the hall to the bathroom because my office was so small, it didn't have a bathroom. So she walks down the hall to go to the bathroom, and she comes back in and she's like, why are you looking at me that way? Nah, no reason. You going back and lay down? She's like, yeah. Looks at me. She walks. So I watch her walk, and she comes back. She's like, I'm walking. She didn't realize she was walking because it's normal to walk.
This episode of the Chiropractors Edge is brought to you by Mango Voice. Mango Voice is an enterprise-grade VoIP system based in the cloud. Whether you're at the office or on the go, Mango gives you the tools you need to engage customers like never before. This is a product that my team can't live without, and neither should yours.
Hey guys, welcome to yet again another episode of the Chiropractors Edge. I am Dr. Jake Hansen, and we have an incredible guest, good friend of mine, Dr. Eddie Weller. Eddie, man, welcome to the show. Hey,
thank you.
From your 14th practice.
Yes.
Yeah, not your 14th studio, right? I mean, my goodness gracious, this is incredible, man. 14.
Yeah. I don't recommend that, by the way. I don't recommend that, by the way. There's a reason of that lineage. Yeah, it's just been a crazy. Just started, like I said, a few months ago, my 12,000th patient, and so it's been cool. Yeah,
isn't that amazing?
Yeah, I feel like I'm just getting started. 26 years. It feels like, all right, I'm 52. What's this mean? You know what I mean?
Right. Hey, Doc, for you watching, for you listening, you're here because you want to grow your practice even more. You want to grow your love with chiropractic even more. Eddie and I in the green room were talking about the reason why we both started this. So Eddie, we're going to talk more about specifically about what Eddie does. And again, you guys, we'll share multiple times. And especially in business, there's no one exact way to do things in any form of business, but you have to find a way. You have to find a way. And in chiropractic, most of our colleagues that we were talking about in the green room, they fell out of love with chiropractic because they couldn't discover what chiropractic really was, what chiropractic really is. And they started doing things that were not chiropractic that literally cost them their passion. You know, I have several colleagues right now that are I have a colleague working at Starbucks. We have a colleague working at the gym. We have a colleague working at Hobby Lobby. And what did you just shared? You said so you're building building up this 14th practice. And what did you just find?
Well, I was at Home Depot I used to build homes, docs, before I was a chiro. It's just one of my fun things to do is doing rehabs and that kind of thing. And so I'm loading drywall, and this guy at Home Depot starts helping me, and I watch him bend over the wrong way. I'm like, hey, brother, watch your back a little bit, bend your knees. And he's like, nah, it's all good. I'm a chiropractor. I'm like, what? So Bob and painting, there's 6 chiros that are working down the block from my office right now at Home Depot. So again, nothing's wrong working at Home Depot, but you didn't go to chiropractic school to go work at Home Depot.
That's right. And again, you shared something perfectly. You shared, hey, are you fulfilled? Is this what you're calling? Is this what you're called to do?
Yeah.
Right. A lot of us, especially as chiropractors, man, we have a higher calling. We were called to do something incredible, and we have a legacy that we were called to fulfill. And I'll tell you, man, I love what I get to do every single day, man. I love it. And that's what I love about you. We got into this because of what not only did chiropractic do for us, but for what we could do for others. Yeah. And Doc, so this, for you watching this, that want to build your practice even more, grow even more, start up your 14th practice, start up your second practice, regrow your first, or you are disenchanted, you are losing hope, and this is kind of one of your last ditch efforts. Doc, you are in the right place. This is for you. For those who are hanging on by a thread, and for those of you who have a mile of foundation underneath you and are waiting to expand, this is for you. So Eddie, how long ago? So with the Chiro Legacy Club, again, for those who don't know me, again, Jake Hansen, I founded the Chiropractors Edge because I had over 1,400 messages one year about, dude, where are you at? You're in Egypt now speaking. Where are you at? You're at Mile High. Where are you? You're with BDC. You're here. How are you doing these things and still having a practice? Eddie, same thing. Will you share with us why you founded the Chiro Legacy Club and why you're doing what you're doing?
I'm in my office, and directly across the street from my office is a large strip mall. I'm in a decent neck of the woods. I'm looking at the joint. and it's Crush Street. And I see that, and they have $29 visits, and and I'm running at $200 a visit cash. So what makes one better than the other? I wouldn't say better, just different. And I think what's wrong with us is that we're not using the same vernacular. We're not using subluxation in the right way. One's doing more relief, pain relief, and one's talking lifestyle. One's talking inside out, and the other one's talking outside in. And so that's where we have a problem with the public is going, what's a chiropractic exam? You know what I mean? I'm a huge fan outside of technique of thermography. I'm a huge fan. Just wrote a new book, Infrared Thermography, co-authored this, and this launches Friday in 2 days. So this will be ready to go on Amazon until you can see it. No technique, no philosophy, straight up science about why we do what we do. And again, we don't have that. And so within a 10-mile radius of my office, there are 144 chiropractors. Within a 10-mile radius. Yeah, I'm 10 minutes from Logan. And so, again, you're going to have that, right, around chiropractic schools, people hang out and stuff. But again, who's right? We all think we're right. But you better have a way of proving what you're doing when you lay hands on somebody that you're helping them, because a cavitation is not an adjustment. So I'm just going, how do we learn all of this? Logan doesn't teach out of the green books, period, or the blue books, or Barge. Nobody. Reggie, zero. Nobody. So where do you learn chiropractic? So the problem is when so many docs are struggling, their foundation of where they went to school, they never established one. And so now they become this pain relief thing, back pain thing. I'll call you when I need you, doc. Oh, my neck hurts. Can you just rub it? The other one put cream on me, those kind of things. I love physical therapy. Go to a physical therapist to get physical therapy, right? I love massage. I have a killer massage therapist. And so, funny story, there was a lady the other day, I was checking her spine, doing the range of motion stuff and I have digital range of motion glasses. If you guys haven't seen these, they're phenomenal. So I do these digital range of motion glasses. It'll do all the ranges, and I'm showing, palpating around what's going on. The lady's like, do you do massage? I love your touch. I'm like, no, I don't do massage. She goes, come on, would you do just one? I said, just my neck. I said, it would cost too much money. And she's like, how much? I go, I'm standing behind her, rolling my eyes. I'm like, oh my gosh, it'll cost $600 for the hour. She goes, can I pay today? And I'm like, holy cow. I said, I just threw an obnoxious number out there just so you would say no. And here's the thing, people. How in the world do you get somebody that's across the street from me at $29? I know a guy down the block's $37. And, these people, for a visit, you're a doctor. Co-pays cost more than that for a specialist. And then somebody coming in paying $200. How do you do that? It's based on the foundation of what we do. Right. And so here's the thing, though. Not everybody can afford $200 a visit. And so if you prepay, it drops it down to like $150. You prepay for the care plan. And then I've got monthly programs so people come in and maintain their spine. But I never let my wallet get in the way of people's health or their opportunity to have a proper nerve system. I don't want Christ to walk through the door and go, what, your wallet's more important than my children? Right. My first 3 years in practice, brother, was straight up donation. Opened an office, 425 square feet, straight up donation. Stay there.
Was it box on the wall? What'd you do? Shut up. There it is.
I still have a donation box. There's money in the box right now. And so I have a donation box still to this day. So if say, this is what my fees cost, I can't afford that. I don't play let's make a deal. Your fee is your fee is your fee. From that, what do? I sent them, say, if you can't afford it, that's fine. I have a box. I'm going to put you on a different care plan because it's not fair for somebody paying full fee. However, I'm not going to deny you. You can just put money in the box. From that money, I have a non-for-profit that we rescued a bunch of orphans called Chalk to Clay. It's a long story, but we built a home school in the church for 19 kids that we rescued out of slavery. So that money goes to those kids. It's all about serving. And if you get in the mindset, chiropractor, of it's not about you, it's about you being a vessel so you can help somebody be a better expression of who they are. Human performance. You're a better parent, co-workers, but you're a better human being because you're unsubluxated. And if you went into it in that way, you don't care what condition they have. You just want to restore function.
That's right.
Now, innate to do her job. So they're from above down, you're doing a blessing for them. And I think that's where we get in this shift in schools. Like, how long are they coming in for? T4 spinous right, L4. What are you doing right now? It has nothing to do about the spine. Chiropractors are so involved with the spine. I tell all my patients, I don't care what your spine looks like. I don't, because they're bones. They don't keep you alive. I'm more concerned about what's inside of it.
That's right.
It just so happens that that hard structure that protects that soft tissue, if that hard structure is out of position, it's going to affect that soft tissue. And the neurologic system, logic in the nerve, God put it there, that logic. And if that logic is interrupted, they're subluxated, which
That's
means
right.
they're living less of a life. That's what this is about. Not one time did I talk pain. And not one time in the 33 principles, there was a big blasphemy fight that I had online not too long ago with a bunch of people. You know the chiropractic symbol, you know, the angel, and it's going across and above it reads health. So I took my angle grinder and I cut off the health. And I have that because not one time in the 33 principles do you see the word health.
Right.
Not one. It's not about us getting them healthier. It's about allowing innate to do. Dee said it's about tone, balancing, homeostasis throughout. Dee didn't say, I'm going to fix your problem. It's about being one with yourself, being the body's working the right way. And if it's working the right way, we should die of old age, not of a condition. Unfortunately, we're not perfect. And we are, our parents were subluxated and they made subluxated children. And so with that, in that process, we developed a bunch of genes that, you know, and so, you know, I have a friend of mine that passed 2 weeks ago. He's 39 years old, but he came in, he had debilitating vomiting migraines. And he just, gosh, it doesn't stop. And he goes, I know you work here, but what about this? What about that? I said, I only work in this area because that's the junction between the brain and the spinal cord. That's the only reason I work there. It's the most vital area in the body. That's just where life started. That's the only reason. It's not about cervical spine fixing. You're an upper cervical weirdo. It's not about that. It's about expression of life. And he got it. I moved a bone in his neck and he never vomited again. Didn't have a headache again. It's just changed his life, right? So again, if the problem can come from the inside, doesn't the answer? And I think that's where we get stuck. And it's so simple. We wrote another book called Dr. Bones' Healthy Safari. It's a children's book. You get it on Amazon. Dr. Bones' Healthy Safari, telling a story about a couple going on their last trip, and she's meets Max the monkey, and Max the monkey talks about why it's so important to have her baby checked because of having the birthing process and the whole nine. So, you know, and all these different animals are talking about chiropractic. You know, and it's interesting, you know, as I talked about the very last page in the book, it's a safari book, right? And so it says, you know, and they all watched the sunset. Gus asked Max, hey, what are you guys doing tomorrow? Max replied, I'll let you know then, but right now, I'm just enjoying my right now. And so I think that's what's so important is know what I'm doing tomorrow, chiropractors? I'll tell you when I get there. Know what I did yesterday? Does it really matter? And so if we live in the moment right now, the biggest variable and the problem we have in sports and in chiropractic is we live in a world, brother, of compare.
That's right.
I don't make $5 million a year. I suck, right? We have to shift that. You know what I mean? So again, I'm in the office on Mondays and Thursdays. That's how I want to practice. And so what do you do the rest of the week? Well, one, live. Two, I play super dad with my kiddos, right? And that kind of thing. I enjoy shooting videos. I've got 2 other businesses I run, you know, writing books. And so, you know, it's what I want to do with my life, because at the end, you want one thing and one thing only: more time.
That's right.
So why wait for that? Why not live that now? Set your lifestyle up. Many chiropractors are like, wow, you're so lucky. You're only in the office Mondays and Thursdays. There's no luck involved.
You designed it that way.
I set it up. In trimester 3, I fell in love with chiropractic. Logan wasn't teaching chiropractic. Still to this day is not. Sorry. I know I get asked, many other chiropractic schools, by the way, are not. And again, this isn't an Eddie Weller opinion. This is a principled philosophical opinion because the philosophy is not being taught. That's where our foundation stems from, right? And so if we don't understand these principles, then what we do is we look outside in, we become an acupuncturist, dry needling, this thing and that thing, everything outside. If I start painting the walls right now, brother, and somebody came up to you and says, what are you doing? I says, oh, I'm practicing chiropractic, because I can make chiropractic anything I want when I'm a chiropractor.
That's right.
This is why acupuncturists, massage therapists, physical therapists can't stand us, because we're not staying in our own lane. We own subluxation and we talk innate. Period. And so when we own that, let's use that to our advantage. That's the only thing we own. We own infrared thermography. What's a chiropractic exam? I like infrared thermography. We don't have congruency between one chiropractic office to the next. That's a problem.
Right.
BJ tried it in 1924 with the NCM. That's a problem. And so what happened? It all got watered down, and then here we are getting washed up. If I'm a PT, physical therapist, there's grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a grade 5 manipulation. That's manipulation with cavitation. That's legal now. They can do that. That's called diversified. They're right there. So what makes, just because, chiropractor did it, it's more specific. No, it's not. It's the same thing as a PT, and they're doing the same thing. What do we own? And I think that's where we get the chiropractic edge. The chiropractic edge is really, this is who we are. This is what we stand upon. This is what we own. And so we should be, arm in arm with one another saying, you're not taking this from us. We own this. This is ours.
You guys, as you can see, Eddie is on fire. And this is who, and for those who really know Eddie, this is Eddie. This is how Eddie is. Always shows up. First one to give you the biggest, bone crushing hug you've ever had. Smile on your face. Offers the world, the world and back, because that's who Eddie is. Eddie, for the doc watching this, that is not in congruence, but that would like to try it. And doc, we have a saying that if the success we have to you seemed intuitive, you would already be doing kind of what we do, either doing how I practice or how Eddie practices. But it seems counterintuitive to think, so I went to Parker, and Parker at the time did have philosophy, but it was being pretty much weeded out at the time. And so I did get a good portion of that, but I did get a very good entrepreneur background as well. That's where I think I've been able to escape a lot of the demise that a lot of my colleagues in graduating class have not been able to escape from. But I was able to truly understand this is what chiropractic is, and here's how I can run my business. And given my personality, I've been able to run a practice based off of my needs, my wants, my desires, what I've been through. Yeah. I had 2 years after practice, I had a traumatic brain injury. 2 years ago, I had a traumatic neck and brain injury again. And I've had so many health issues because of it. But because of how I run my practice and how I run my teams, I'm able to still do what I need to do. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. Sometimes I have to re-record my podcast 15 times because my brain goes through what it has to go through. But we have found a way, and we have found congruency with what we do. Eddie, what do you say to the doc who wants to take their practice to the next level, but they're stagnant, to the doc who's getting ready to shut their doors down, who have already shut their doors down, but they're giving you a shot? What do you say to those docs? What do they need to first look to? Because I know a lot of docs think it's a new technique, right? It's a new seminar. It's a new this or that. And doc, I'll tell you, if you can't sell chiropractic, you're not going to be able to sell SoftWave. If you can't sell chiropractic, you're not going to be able to sell anything else, right? Yeah. So don't look outside. You need to look in. What do you share to those docs, Eddie?
When a computer gets overwhelmed and it freezes up, like our minds, we get in this worry, this fear, this anxiety, uncertainty, especially we do that all based on money. We stop, we pause, and we hit the reset button on the computer. The printer, the mouse, the CPR, everything, CPU, everything resets. And when everything resets, it starts to its back default. It goes back to welcome. Now the windows start on, all the windows clear on off, and you have to wipe the slate clean. Sometimes you have to just shut down. I've done this, guys. I've shut my office down for 2-3 weeks. They're like, is he okay? Is something wrong? Is this and that? I've shut it down for 2-3 weeks just so I can go back to me again. I like getting in my Jeep. I get my Jeep, I take the top down, and I go for a shut my phone off, and I take a drive, and I just go. And then I end up in middle of Nowheresville. I purposely get lost, and I sit, and I have a moment with God. And I lean, and I said, hey, I need a little guidance right now, Dad. I'm struggling. That's what I call him. And it's, I'm struggling right now. And so, and God knows. So it's okay to kind of hit the reset button. However, do you train? Where's your training at? My son is an avid golfer. And I can talk about him all day long. I would create a website for him. It's just nuts. He can play. It sucks because he beats me all the time, but he can play. So he's 13 and he's a rock star. However, he's practicing 4 hours a day, 5-6 days a week.
Wow.
Practicing, getting ready for tournaments on his own. Are you, chiropractor, practicing, which means are you training? Like if you want to get in shape and go to the gym, you just don't go once a month and hope that you have a muscle, right? Or get in shape. You have to do that consistently. What are you doing consistently, chiropractor? Do you go, oh gosh, I got to go to the office today. I hope some people show up. I can't wait to get out of here. Man, Friday's coming so soon. Do you know the majority of people live that way? And that's awful. We're in America and you have a choice right now. You have a choice what you want to do with your life. And so again, I set up practice times for me. I get in here and I walk around my office and I do prayers. I rest everybody after an adjustment. So I've got private resting suites. I put my hands on that and said, Father God, just whatever you want to do here, let miracles happen through you. And I talk to my beds. I see that person coming on in. Do you know Rob Schiffman? So I don't know if you know, Schiffman's a rock star, right? He's a firecracker. Go, go, go. He's screaming at you all the time. Jewish guy, crazy for Christ. And so it's, we think about, I talked to this, he's a buddy of mine. And so he sits down with his staff with Post-it notes, blank, and they make up names and they put them underneath his waiting room seats, all the Post-it notes once a week. And they put names there. He says, those people are coming. They're coming. We're going to serve them. They're coming. And so again, that might be way far out, but it's how he does to get in the mindset. What mindset are you getting into when you walk into the door and go, I can serve today? And I always ask, when I walk into my office, God, I don't know what you're up to today, but I want to be part of it. And if you want to show off, you can use me. I'm cool with that. That's how I like to start my day. And it gets me on fire because then it's not about Eddie any longer. It's about a person walking into the office going, can you help me? And when somebody walks on in and they give you new client paperwork, I don't call them patients, I don't treat disease. So new client paperwork, and she slides her suicide note in between the sheets of the paper. And I flip through it and I look at this and I go, now I know why you're here. And we have a moment together. And a month later, she's like, I can't believe I ever thought I wanted to hurt myself. Thank you for changing my life. I said, oh, God used me, girl. It's all good. I said, give him the glory. And so again, we have to do that. I practice on my table. I do upper cervical toggle recoil. And so the table drops. I practice stance, my motions. I practice my strength, my speed. How do I go? I do all of that. And so I do my certain type of push-ups. I do certain kind of pull-ups based on my quote technique. So I can deliver and deliver and deliver and over and over and over. And if we don't do that, then what are we doing?
That's right.
We get soft. There's certain seminars. I won't say that, but I'll go to certain seminars and I look around the room. I'm like, you people are touching people. Like these people are just, they're miserable. They're toxic. And I have a headache. You have a Tylenol, Mark? You know what I mean? I'm like, what's going on right now? And so again, I've seen it. And then they practice. I go to seminars, and this is why I don't get invited many times, because I see them all adjusting each other. I'm like, don't you people have chiropractors? Like, what are you doing? Nobody's performing a chiropractic exam at the seminars. They're just laying hands on people and going. And so I have a problem with that, because sure as heck, BJ didn't do that at his lyceums. No, sir.
Right.
And so, there was a protocol. I have a protocol. I do 17 exams in my office. If I did 17 exams at the seminar, then I would adjust you. That would make sense because there's a protocol. Right? So I think, again, the reset switch, go for a ride. How close are you with God? Right? Those are really big. And here's the thing. Who's in your circle? Do you have a circle of influence and you can lean on your brothers and just go, or sisters, and lean on them and go, I'm in a pickle right now. I need some help right now. I'm kind of stuck right now. And I love you enough to invite you in my circle. What do you think would be the best for me right now? And again, you don't have to eat, sleep, and drink it. But again, if they care about you, they're going to give you some pretty good guidance. And so again, Think and Grow Rich. If you guys have not read that book, listen to it on YouTube. It's free. I'm telling you, grab it and go get it. Because again, he's talking about Think and Grow Rich. There's the 12th thing that makes you rich is money. There's 11 other things that make you rich, but you have to have a group of harmonious thinkers. That's what he calls them in your circle that in harmony with your wants and desires. That's for you.
Yes.
And so it's such a big deal. That's why stuff like this,
huge.
Right? When you listen to podcasts like this, right? Or there's other podcasts you can listen to. Gosh, that so doesn't resonate with me. Why? Because again, you know your principles. So surround yourself. I only watch things on TV or YouTube that are going to build me, right? I look at people and food the same way. If I put this in my mouth, is it making me a better me, or does my body have to work overtime to get rid of it? How many times you have somebody in your life and you're going, oh gosh, here comes so-and-so again, including patients. I have patients that I let go and said, no, it's just not a right fit. And that's okay. I have somebody down the block that I trust. I'm going to send you on over that way if that works for you. And if not, that's okay. But with me and you, it's just not a right fit. And that's okay. Not everybody needs your care. Right. Everybody needs chiropractic care. Not everybody needs your care. And I look at it like I'm a chef, right? This is my menu. This is my food. This is what I offer. And if somebody says, well, I don't want to eat that, then it's not the right restaurant for you. And that's okay. But know what we do as chiropractors? As I always say, I've been saying this for 20-something years. McDonald's is very capable of making hot dogs, but that's not what they do. Why don't they do that? Because it's in their policy. So speaking of that, If you're stuck, chiropractors, adhering to your own wants and desires, write down your office policies, who you are, what you're about. And this is all in the Chiro Legacy Club, by the way. But again, write down your office policies and then print them in a really nice looking font and hang it in your office and blame the office policy. Okay, could you do this, this, and this? No, I can't. It's against office policy. So let the office policy set the standard so you don't have to look like the bad guy.
That's right.
And you wrote the policy. But again, everybody would adhere to that because that's what we do. Again, if we were chiropractors and we're running McDonald's, know what a chiropractor would do? Oh, stay here. Let me run to the store, get some hot dogs. I'll make it for you, because that's what we do. We bend our own principles just to get paid. Don't bend your principles to get paid.
That incongruency that you nailed, Eddie, is where I see a lot of unhappiness and uncertainty happen, where if you guys, that mindset and that congruency of holding to what you truly believe, you can be a practicing Christian in your practice. You can practice. Now, that's not chiropractic, but it's being who you are authentically. Right. I pray over people all the time in my practice. In my mission statement, part of our mission statement says that we will give you loving Christ-like service on every single office experience. We have it in there, but that's what I believe. You guys, you can have every single thing you want in this life, but incongruencies. I have a lot of docs that say, man, I want to work with athletes. Like, that's just seeing that potential. It's just, and become, seeing someone who goes from here to the Olympics is, man, I want to see that come to fruition. You can do that. I see a lot of those practices that bought pediatric practices or bought geriatric practices or bought a physical therapy, sports, metapractic practice. So then they kind of practiced what everyone else did in hopes of being able to one day do what you wanted to do. They get golden handcuffs, and then before they know it, they're super disenchanted because of the incongruency. Dog, I'm coaching 2 clients right now who are going through major shifts. So they do a lot of things that are not chiropractic. They're in the insurance model, and they wanted to go to chiropractic cash. I said, guys, tomorrow we created a game plan. We created a 90-day game plan for one guy, and another guy took about a year. But 90 days in a year, and they are both thriving, absolutely thriving, because they said, dog, I never thought I could be this happy. Where, and we always have the phrase, what can you do to say, I get to go do this today, as opposed to, oh, man, I have to go do this today. They say, man, I get to go to the office today. I get to go liberate people today. I get to go and slay subluxations. I have a client right now, and to see his enthusiasm, and Dr. Johnson, Dr. Colby, you're probably watching this. He just bought a brand new truck, and on his license plate it says Sublux, and then above and below it says Slayer. So he's the Sublux Slayer. I'm like, dude, heck yeah, man. But to see that happiness that comes when you go into congruency with chiropractic, that congruency will give you everything you want, you guys. You can take vacations. You can open up side gigs galore. You can do all the other things you want to do in your life. For me, we have 3 non-negotiables: my health and my relationship with God, my family, and the activities I get paid for. I put those things in priority each and every day, and I'm able to have an abundance, everything I want to have. And that's exactly what Eddie, what you're able to teach. So what we're going to have, you guys, is we're going to have a few links below down here for Eddie's books. But Eddie, what is the best way for people? So the doc that's out there that wants to start their 14th practice, the doc that's out there that says, doc, I want to get out of Home Depot. I want to get out of working for the optometrist. I want to get out of doing what I'm doing, and I want to become a chiropractor again. Sure. How do they get a hold of you, number one? And then what's a step? So apart from the mindset step that you just shared with us, what else can they do to get realigned immediately? So how do they get a hold of you? Actually, how do they get a hold of you? Okay. And then what's your last words on how can they get realigned? What's the step they can take today to get realigned? I used to give up my cell phone, and that would get a little crazy, overwhelming. And so we get that. The easiest way is go on Facebook and Messenger. I'm starting to get involved in Instagram a little bit, but Facebook and Messenger is the easiest way. I post pretty frequently there. I'm launching right now 78 videos in the library. It's in the ChiroLegacyClub.com. That was going to launch in a few days. I think I'm ready for it right now. I'm going to raise the fee. It's $99 a month, and you get video galore.
And so you start getting drip videos, training videos, everything under the sun in practice, everything. So you got an infant. How do I adjust an infant? To somebody coming in says, you hurt me. What do you do? Or I'm suing you. And those kind of things. What do you do? Some people get that, some don't. But again, at least you have the tools. So that I've created a library. As I always say, just like you did, brother, I'm not the way, but I'm a way, right? And so it's a way that makes sense because it's based on our principles and who we are.
Yes.
And so it's, to me, again, if you're tying in a science, philosophy, and art, where's your science? You need to have objective analysis. It's like, well, gosh, I have a fever. How do you know? Well, it feels warm. Yeah, but what's the number? Chiropractors can't tell you the number. They don't have a gauge. Well, there is. It's a thermometer, right? So we would have a gauge to know if you have a fever or not. We need to have a gauge whether you're subluxated or not.
Yes.
So this is why I wrote, the infrared thermography book. Co-authored that with Michael Lee. There's another associate doctor that was with me, and so we wrote this textbook. It's right now. It's in a bunch of libraries. I believe it's in Parker and at Sherman. So it's going to launch all over the country and or globe. I'm having it. So those kind of things. I think, to me, at the end, stop. And when do you get in silence? I sit very quiet here at the end of the day and just sit and pause. And I go through, if you have one person coming in today, 100 or 500, it doesn't matter. It's your number. And that's the amount of people that God wanted you to see today. And so in that process, you stop, print that out, and then say that person's name out loud and why you're grateful for them. And then it'll start growing and growing. And I remember my first practice, 425 square feet, small space. And so I've got the small space, $250 a month rent, including utilities and taxes. And so I went garbage picking for my first office straight up, to reupholstered everything. I'm a little handy. Reupholstered everything, put everything together. I didn't have any coin, and I did donation. I couldn't charge because I was sitting on a toilet for 7 years with irritable bowel, met a doctor, moved to Bonham, and it changed my life. I also went from C's and D's to A's and B's, and it changed my life. And so I'm like, God, that's where that fire was at 23 years old. That's when it started. And so reading Palmer's Law of Life was what got me interested. If you really want to start, like, where do I go green? Because green books get overwhelming. Start with Palmer's Law of Life. Don't start with the chiropractic textbook. It's too much for people in the beginning. Start with Palmer's Law of Life and then get into Stevens, volume 14 in the chiropractic textbook. But start with the Law of Life. That book, I have probably given out 500 of those. And so I buy them by the stacks and I mail them to docs. I've done that before. You can buy that at DSC, Doctors of Straight Chiropractic, dscbooks.com. Support them. Chiropractic organization. The Delts have reprinted the books. I'm telling you, go get it from them. That's where I would start. Reaching out to me in any way. The Chiro Legacy Club, for 90, right now it's $99. All my friends are busting my chops right now. I'm giving this thing away. But here's the thing. What chiropractors don't do, brother, they don't invest in themselves. They don't invest in their practices. They don't invest in nothing chiropractically. They'll invest in their family or their hobbies and those kind of things. But how are you investing in you so you can be a better chiropractor? Right. Because you got to sharpen that knife over and over and over, because that medical world will dull it. Everybody's subluxated and they're naysaying you. I can go up to anybody and say, oh, who's your dentist? I'm looking for one. They'd spit it off and they're excited about their dentist. Why can't we walk up and say, who's your chiropractor? I'm looking for one. And some would have it, some wouldn't. And are they excited about it? Those that get chiropractic, you ever notice that the patients are on fire?
Yeah.
They are.
Absolutely.
And so much so, I remember my first practice, this guy wheels in a woman in a wheelchair. And so I'm sitting talking to them. He says, I hear you help people. Big Italian guy connected in Chicago. And I said, yeah. I said, I can help her, but you need to leave. He's like, excuse me? Connected dude, right? You need to leave. I see her walking. You see her sick. I see her thriving. You see her in a chair. So which one do you want? I need you to leave. So come back in 5 hours. So I said, come back in 5 hours. So I do my thing and that whole, with her. And so I kind of explain the principles. Now I've got a day 1, day 2, day 3 protocol. And so again, I make an adjustment to this woman's spine, pick her up, carry her, lay her down and rest. Remember, I got a private resting room. BJ rested people 3 hours, by the way. So I rest people about an hour and a half. So they're laying down, she's resting. I'm seeing other patients. She walks across my office. She goes down the hall to the bathroom because my office was so small, it didn't have a bathroom. So she walks down the hall to go to the bathroom, and she comes back in and she's like, why are you looking at me that way? Nah, no reason. You going back and lay down? She's like, yeah. Looks at me. She walks. So I watch her walk, and she comes back. She's like, I'm walking. She didn't realize she was walking because it's normal to walk. And so he comes on into the office, sees her standing. You need to be by my office. I drive an hour here. You need to be by my house. Take care of my family. I'm like, okay. I go, give me a reason to. 2 weeks later, he shows up with keys. And I said, what's this? He goes, I own several strip malls. I see your office. I just built out an office. It's on me. No rent for you. I have an office here now for you. You take care of my wife. Now I have 2 offices. He gave me an offer I couldn't refuse, right? And so again, how could I refuse it, right? It's a practice, keys, ready to go. Now I'm seeing patients. And in that second practice, I met a gentleman who used to be an ex-heroin dealer, bullet holes all up and down him, walks into the office, sits down with me and says, Eddie, do you realize everything you're telling me about the body, about innate, about all the things that's going on is in scripture? And I'm like, oh no, are you like his holy roller, Larry? And he's like, where do you go to church? I said, I've never been to church. I'm 28 years old, never been to church, never prayed in my life. He's like, you're talking God everywhere here, but you don't have a relationship with him. He goes, I'm starting to care with me. You're going to church. So I went to church. Went to church for the first time. 6 weeks later, he's having prostate issues, erectile issues. He's having a bunch of knees replaced. He's sick, prostate cancer. All of it resolves. He walks into the office. He's like, I'm waking up erect again. I'm going to the bathroom fully. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. He's on fire. He's like, this is crazy. I go, why? You're the one that brought me to church. And so again, with that, he shows up 6 weeks later. He's under care 3 months. 6 weeks after that, he shows up and he walks in with luggage. He's like, I sold my tractor trailer. I sold my house. I sold my furniture. I need to go to chiropractic school. I need to do what you do. I said, how old are you, man? Now I'm 28, 29 at the time. I said, how old are you? He goes, I'm 52. Which is crazy.
Wow.
He goes, I go, do you have a GED? He goes, I have a GED. You got 10 years of college coming, brother. He did it. He graduated at 62 and got his chiropractic degree. So you never know whose lives you're going to impact, people, right? Because I didn't make it about me. I made it about serving and making sure that NA's doing her job and giving credit to where credit's due.
Thanks, Ray, man. You guys, can you taste how incredible life can be? Can you see a glimpse of how joyful your life can be when you do things the way God wants you to do things? When you live in congruency, especially within chiropractic, you can have everything you want to have. So Eddie, thank you for these incredible moments. You guys, we're gonna have again links below for his books, links below to the Chiro Legacy Club. Jump in, you guys. For those of you who are where you want to be, but you want to get to a higher level faster, reach out to Eddie. Eddie's here to help you. We're here to help you guys, to help you grow. Again, thank you so much for being with us. Eddie, we're going to have you on again. Chiropractic Podfest is going to be happening. So Podfest is the largest podcasting group in the entire world. And we're meeting January 16th to the 19th in Florida. And I've been asked to head up Chiropodfest. So I'm going to be hosting 100 docs who want to either have a podcast or would love to grow their audience or a side business. We'd love to have you guys. We'll have more information below. Eddie, thank you again for being on the show today, brother. I love you. I appreciate you. I love that you love what I love. And I love that you are thriving because that's what we were born to do. We were born to thrive within this incredible freshness we give back. Thanks, brother.
Amen. God bless you, brother. I appreciate you, man.